Welcome to the part 1 video of chapter 2 Ideas of Development Social Paper 1 Andhra Pradesh State Syllabus. Social Paper 1 consists of two branches of knowledge. They are geography and economics. The first chapter, India Relief Features, is taken from geography portion, which means the study of Earth's surface. The second chapter, Ideas of Development, is taken from economics branch. Economics is a branch of knowledge that is concerned with production, consumption, distribution, and welfare aspects of human life. Now let us discuss what is development. It is a complex term. It can be explained in different ways and differs in meaning in different situations. Development is a process that creates growth, progress, positive change, or the addition to physical, economic, environmental, social, and demographic components. In other words, development means improvement in society's economic and social conditions. More specifically, it refers to improvements in ways of managing an area's natural and human resources in order to create wealth and to improve the people's welfare. In simple words, the development is the facilities that we desire for the betterment of our life. Now let us examine the developmental goals of a village. A typical village like that, our village that we live in. The people in that village may have the desire to get more electricity, better transport facilities, more days of work, better wages, safe drinking water, public facilities such as government schools, hospitals, shops, etc. Here we discuss about the different concepts used to study development. How can we identify the development? We can assess the development by looking into consideration of the parameters like income, such as national income, per capita income, and public facilities such as education, health, transport, and looking into other criteria such as infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate, literacy rate, life expectancy, so on. Let us try to understand more about the development. Now let me ask you one question. What is your opinion about development? Do you think the people have same ideas or goals about development, or do they have different ideas or goals about development? In order to answer the above question, let us go through the table 2.1 developmental goals of different categories of persons. In this table, the first column, that is category of person, and the second column, it is developmental goals or aspirations. Here different kinds of persons are given here and their developmental goals. The first one is landless rural labor. What would be his developmental goals? More days of work, local school to provide quality education for their children. There would be no social discrimination, and they too can become leaders in the village. Now let us see the developmental goals of a prosperous farmer. Higher support price for their crops, hardworking and cheap laborers, sending their children abroad, settlement of their children abroad. Now let us look into the developmental goals of farmers who depend only on rain for growing crops. They would like to have more rains in time. They would like to grow more crops in the season. They would like to get minimum support prices for their crops. They expect good profits. Now let us see rural woman from land owning family. She would like to grow crops well in her land, like to give quality education and employment for her children, to acquire more agricultural land. She would like to get good benefits from the cattle. Here we discuss about the developmental goals of urban unemployed youth. He would like to get good job. He should try to get better salary. Should try to acquire own house. Would like to purchase laptop, cell phones, stylish life, etc. Now let us see the developmental goals of a boy from rich urban family. His developmental goal may be to purchase a car, to marry a beautiful woman, to settle in foreign countries, weekend parties, pubs, etc. Now let us see the developmental goals of a girl from rich urban family. She would like to have more freedom as her brother. She likes to decide what she wants to do in her life. She needs to pursue her studies abroad, etc. Now an Adivasi from mining field. He would like to have better wages for the work, accident-free work, good health support, bonus and free quarters, education facilities for their children, etc. Now let us see a person from fishing community. He would like to earn much from the fishing, protection from the natural disasters, good quality of boats without repairs, help from the government, etc. From the analysis of the above table, it is clear that each one of them seeks different things. They seek things that are most important for them. From this, we can conclude that different person can have different developmental goals. Now, let us have a small discussion about the history of human development. About 2 lakh years ago, humans were hunter-gatherers. They were not staying in a one place, they were wandering here and there. Later, they started to settle in one place. And they came to know the uses of the fire and they started making instruments, so on. Slowly, they began agriculture about 12,000 years ago. And if we consider the modern industries which were started only 400 years ago, so we can understand from this discussion that the development is a progress over time. We have already discussed about the development goals of different people. That may be same or different. Some of the common developmental goals are explained here: better wages, equal treatment, better working conditions, freedom, good health, security, education, no discrimination, public facilities, more days of work, etc. Now let us move into another point, that is development for one person may not be development for others. For example, Kudankulam power project. In this picture, you can see the location of Kudankulam power project. It is located in Tirunelveli district of Tamil Nadu state. It is here. It is a nuclear power project set up by Government of India with the help of country Russia to meet the growing energy needs of the country. In the point of view of development, we need big firms. and these big firms needed electricity on the other hand. So the government of India decided to set up a nuclear power plant at Kudangulam. But there arose a conflict by the coastal area people on the grounds of pollution and their safety. The government supported the plant and said the plant has all the safety measures, but people of that area and environmentalists protest on grounds of safety, security and livelihood. Picture of a people protesting against the Kudankulam power projects. From this discussion, what we can understand? The development, according to government, is producing more electricity. But the people here protested against, it is against their life and livelihood. So, two things are quite clear from the above discussion. The first one is different person can have different developmental goals, and what may be development for one may not be the development for the other. It may even be destructive for the other. Now let us read the newspaper report which was published by Vaiju Narawane on 16th September 2006 in the Hindu newspaper. A vessel dumped 500 tons of liquid toxic waste into open air dumps in a city and in the surrounding sea. This happened in a city, Abidjan, in Ivory Coast, a country in Africa. The fumes from the highly toxic waste caused nausea, skin rashes, fainting, diarrhea, etc. After a month, 7 persons were dead, 20 in hospital, and 26,000 treated for symptoms of poisoning. A multinational company dealing in petroleum and metals contracted to a local company of Ivory Coast to dispose the toxic waste from its ship. What do you understand from this? For the development, we need big companies, petroleum and everything. But due to that industries, there is waste, toxic wastes are produced. That was dumped in another area and that was very harmful for the people in the city of Abidjan. Now let us continue the discussion about the goals of development. You can see here the goals may be different: family, security, friends, learning, income, equality. Income is one of the important goal of development. Most important developmental goal is more income. Now let us discuss about income and other goals. People desire regular work, better wages, decent prices for the products that they produce. Thus, people in fact need more income. Besides income, they also need equality, freedom, security and respect from others. In some cases, these goals might be more important than income because materials aren't just enough to live. Here is a picture that shows different people have different developmental goals. An old person thinks about pension. A woman casual labor thinks about equal wages. A person who is working far thinks about working near the family. The idea may be better understood with the help of an example. If you get a job in a far off place, you try to consider many factors apart from income. This could be the facilities for your family, working atmosphere or opportunity to learn. In other case, a job may give you less pay but may offer regular employment that enhances your sense of security. Another job, however, may not offer high pay but no job security and also leave no time for your family. This will reduce your sense of security and freedom. At this time, which job you will prefer? It is your personal preference. Some may prefer safety for the family and security of the job, etc. Now let us examine how to compare different countries or states. For comparing countries, their income is considered to be one of the most important attributes. Now let us see what is national income. The total income of all the residents of the country. This gives us the total income of the country. We will study more about national income and GDP in the coming lesson. Here, let us examine what is per capita income. Per capita income is nothing but the average income. It is calculated by dividing the GDP of the country by the population of that country. Per capita income is the main criterion used in the World Development Report published by the World Bank to classify countries. Based on this, the countries are divided into three. First one, high income countries or developed countries. Second, middle income countries or developing countries. And the low income countries, undeveloped countries. According to World Development Report, countries with per capita income of US dollar 12,600 and above per annum in 2012 are called high income countries or rich countries. The countries with per capita income between US dollar 12,600 and US dollar 1,035 per annum in 2012 are called middle income countries. The countries with per capita income of US dollar 1,035 or less per annum in 2012 are called low income countries. Less than a decade ago, India was under the category of low income countries. Now it falls under the category of middle income countries. Here in this map, you can see the classification of countries by United Nations. Here in green color, you can see they are the developed countries or the high income countries. Here you can see in the orange color, they are the developing countries or the middle income countries. Here in red color, which is pointed there, is the undeveloped countries or the low income countries. The above classification of the countries was made on the basis of per capita income. It is the most common average used to compare countries. Now let us examine the question, what is the problem of an average? Averages are very useful for comparison, but they hide disparities. Since it is an average, it does not reflect the distribution of income in the country. It fails to show the huge gap between income of rich and poor. It does not show the change in the prices, that is inflation. It might increase due to rise in prices without any change in the physical output. The problems of an average is better understood from the analysis of table 2.2. Here comparison of two countries are given, country A and country B. Here the monthly income of citizens 2001 in rupees is given. In country A, first citizen gets 9,500, second citizen gets 10,500, third citizen gets 9,800, fourth citizen gets 10,000, and the fifth citizen gets 10,200. In order to find the national income, what we have to do is we have to add the first citizen's income plus the second citizen's income plus third citizen's income plus fourth citizen's income plus fifth citizen's income. All together, if we add, we will get the total 50,000. Now, this is the national income. If you want to get the per capita income, we have to divide this one with the population. That is here 5. So, if you divide that with 5, what we will get is 10,000. That is the per capita income or the average income. Now, let us move to country B. The same condition is applied. First citizen income 500 only added to the second citizen's income, to the third citizen, and to the fourth. Then the fifth citizen in this country gets 48,000. That means here high variation is there in the income. So if we add all this together, we will get same 50,000. And to get the per capita income, we have to divide that with the 5 and we will get the same average income 10,000. But by looking at the table, we can see that in the first country there is equality and the second country there is no equality. The second country there are poor people are there and a very rich person is there. But in the first country almost everybody is getting almost equal salary. So by looking at the average, we cannot find which country is having equality and which country is not having equality. Here you can see the picture of a country with no rich and no poor. That means a country with equality. Here you can see the picture of a country with rich and poor. It shows that there is a great inequality. Now let us discuss a question. Why do we use averages? Are there any limitations in their use? Illustrate with your own example. We use averages for comparisons. There are many limitations to the use of averages because the averages hide disparities. It gives an overall picture but not concerned with the individual data. For example, two countries' per capita income may be the same, but it hides the fact that which country has more equality. It fails to show the huge gap between income of the rich and the poor. Let us now discuss about developmental criteria other than income. When considering development, people not only think of better income, but also other goals like security, respect for others, etc. Similarly, we think of many other equally important goals besides income when thinking about the nation or region too, such as literacy rate, net attendance rate, life expectancy, infant mortality rate, etc. Here we discuss about literacy rate. Literacy rate measures the percentage of literate population in the 7 and above age group in India. Here we discuss about the IMR, infant mortality rate. That means out of 1,000 live children born, the number of children who die within 1 year. the literacy rate and infant mortality rate are not same in all the states of India. Some states have lesser infant mortality rate because they have adequate provision of basic health and educational facilities. Here you can see a clear explanation about infant mortality rate. The ratio of infant deaths registered in a given year to the total number of live births registered in the same year, usually expressed as a rate per 1000 live births. It is given by the formula IMR, infant mortality rate, is equal to number of deaths of children less than 1 year of age in a year divided by number of live births in the same year into 1000. Now let us discuss about net attendance ratio, NAR. It is the percentage of official primary school age population that attends primary school. The another term is the gross attendance ratio, GAR. It is the total number of students attending primary school regardless of age expressed as a percentage of the official primary school age population. In short, net attendance rate is out of the total number of children in the age group 6 to 17, the percentage of children attending school. The table 2.3 shows the per capita income of selected states for 2012. Here the given states are Punjab, Himachal Pradesh and Bihar. The per capita income of Punjab is 78,000. The per capita income of Himachal Pradesh is 74,000. The per capita income of Bihar is 25,000. The state with the highest per capita income is Punjab. The second highest is Himachal Pradesh. And the least per capita income state is Bihar. Table 2.4 depicts some comparative data on selected states that we have seen already in the last table. Punjab, Himachal Pradesh and Bihar. The same states are given here also. But here the data is given about the infant mortality rate, literacy rate and net attendance rate. In Punjab, IMR is 42. But in Himachal Pradesh, it is only 36. In Bihar, it is 62. In Punjab, the literacy rate is 77. In Himachal Pradesh, the literacy rate is 84. In Bihar, literacy rate is 64. In Punjab, net attendance rate is 76. In Himachal Pradesh, it is 90. In Bihar, it is 56. In table 2.3, the per capita income was very high for Punjab. But in all the other aspects like IMR, literacy rate, net attendance rate, the best state is Himachal Pradesh. As per the data given in the above table, we find that of the three, Punjab has highest per capita income and Bihar is at the bottom. This means that on an average, a person in Punjab earned rupees 78,000 in 1 year, whereas on an average, a person in Bihar would earn only around rupees 25,000. So, if per capita income were to be used as the measure of development, Punjab would be considered the most developed and Bihar the least developed state. But considering all the criteria given in the tables, Himachal Pradesh is the most developed state out of the three states given. One of the important aspects of development is public facilities. For better accessibility and availability of many of the important things in life to all, the best and cheapest way is to provide these goods and services collectively. For example, government schools, government hospitals, ration shops, etc. serve this purpose. Similarly, in some states, the public distribution system (PDS) functions well. The health and nutritional status of people of such states is certainly likely to be better. PDS shop means the ration shops. The public distribution system (PDS) in the country facilitates the supply of food grains and distribution of essential commodities to a large number of poor people through a network of fair price shops at a subsidized price on a recurring basis. Development would be incomplete without the government, who is responsible for providing the public facilities. Now let us discuss what are the important public facilities. They are the roads, electricity, health and educational institutions, ration shops, transport facilities, etc. These may be provided by the government. In almost all the countries, such kind of facilities are provided by the government. Thank you for watching the video presentation.